Alright, welcome back friends. We are back in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We are here at Papa Alpha Sierra Yankee in the very western end of the Aleutian Islands. And tonight we are heading to Papa Alpha Sierra November, St. Paul, which is pretty much halfway between us and Anchorage. And we are expecting a pretty gnarly arrival when we get there. It is apparently covered in fog. Visibility is about 1/2 statute mile. So it's going to be a pretty challenging approach. I actually don't know what kind of precision landing systems they offer. Maybe we can auto land, maybe we'll have to divert. We'll see. Could be an interesting evening nonetheless. We are in Alaska 9084 tonight, the latest experimental build of the fly-by-wire A320. And yeah, I think we're just about ready to get pre-flight started. Our flight plan is filed. We are on the VATSIM network, and yeah, let's hop inside and get things rolling. As you can see, we are cold and dark as we usually start. We'll get our electronic flight bag on, and we'll get batteries on as well. Connect the external power. Hear everything come alive. Get the integrated lights on, nav and logos, so let the folks on the ground know that we're here. And prep our internal lighting. We'll keep the fuel pumps off and the seatbelt signs off while we refuel, but crew supply will come on, ground control will go on, and we'll start aligning our IRSs. Alright, next we'll do our fire tests. All good, and we'll turn on our APU. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, while the APU is spooling up, we'll prepare the rest of the cockpit here. Turn these up. Get constraints on. We are staying in inches of mercury because we're back in the United States. How crazy is that? Turn the co-pilot flight director off, and we'll turn these screens off as well. Coming down, we'll brighten up the ECAMs. Just check the display real quick. 7 minutes to align the IRSs. Where parking brake is engaged. Clock is correct. Landing gear is indicating down and lever is down. Anti-skid is on. Brake pressure confirmed. APU is almost done spooling up, but we will check first hydraulics. Hydraulic fluid is nice and full. We will check cockpit oxygen pressure, looks good. And finally, oil quantity looks fine as well. Alright, we'll come down the panel here. We're on Unicom right now because we don't have ATC coverage in the area, but hopefully that will change as we get closer to Anchorage. Let's get these integrated lights on. The weather system is off, predictive wind shear system is off, engine masters are off, engine mode is normal. We will squawk 1200 while we are in US airspace, and ATC is set to standby, TCAS is set to standby. Thrust levers are functional in the idle position. Spoilers are disarmed and retracted. Flaps are up. Rudder trim is neutraled. Cockpit doors open. Parking brake is on. All looks good to me. Excellent. So let's go over to our electronic flight bag. Let's import our flight plan. Erickson to St. Paul. That looks correct. We are Alaska 9084 in the A32neo. Let's take a look at our weather. So here, this is relatively current within the last hour. Winds are 120 at 13 knots. And we're expecting runway 10, so that makes sense. 10 statute mile visibility, 900-foot ceilings, 5 degrees, 4 degree dew point. Altimeter 2933. So just adjusting down the glare shield here, 2933. Oh, it's going to take forever. 2933. Perfect. Alright. Everything looks fine. Looking at our destination, this is where it gets interesting, right? So this is also recent data. Winds are 140 at 14 knots, 1/2 statute mile visibility, fog, and 200-foot ceilings. I'm actually not sure what VV stands for. So let's go ahead and check real quick. Vertical visibility. Yeah, so 200 feet of vertical visibility, so very low, pretty much right at ILS minimums, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll check the chart once we're in the air. Yeah, and I don't think that's expected to improve. So let's take a look at our flight plan. Make sure everything looks good. So our alternate is Papa Alpha Charlie Delta, flight number Alaska 9084, cost index of 10, cruise level 390, triple pauses low at 29,000, and we have a tailwind of 7 knots tonight, which will help us out just a little bit. We're looking at an in-air time of 1 hour and 37 minutes, and moderate wind shear, so not expecting too many bumps, which is nice. Alright, we confirmed the runway's good. Routing is super simple tonight. We're just on basically an airway that takes us direct to St. Paul. There are not many airports around that island, so it's nice and direct. So we'll actually program our box manually tonight just to practice that. Alright, coming down here, let's take a look at the extended METARs. So yeah, so looking ahead, all right. Yeah, so visibility, it's going to improve, but probably not by the time we get there. We'll see how things look as we get closer. Cool. So let's take a look at our fuel situation. So we'll want to take an extra 2,000 for our alternate. We'll definitely want that tonight. But I think that looks good. We'll just go ahead and take the recommended amount, 6822. And this is still showing up in pounds, but it does sync with SimBrief, so I do trust that this is correct. And we'll start refueling. Quick 4 minutes for that. Cool beans. All right, so let's prepare some charts. So we'll pull in the taxi chart. And we are over here in the hot cargo area. We're not carrying any. Oh no, sorry, we're not. We're over here by the hangars, by Bravo. So we're taking off runway 10, so we'll want to back taxi all the way down the runway. So we'll just make a right turn out of here to Bravo and back taxi all the way back to taxi 10. To runway 10, rather. There is no SID out of here, so this is really the only chart. So let's see what else we can learn from looking at this. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Pretty simple. Pretty simple brief right there. All right, so while we are looking at this, let's go ahead and do our performance calculations. So I'm going to pull up SimSmart, and we'll see if we have more luck with it tonight. So airport code, Papa Alpha Sierra Yankee. And there's runway 10. Got the METAR information. That all looks correct to me. Runway conditions are dry. Anti-ice will be off. Takeoff weights. Let's take a look. Our OFP here. 66 tons. We'll try to do flex. We're going to assume forward weight balance. Configuration 1. Air conditioners are off. Calculate. And yeah, we have enough for a flex takeoff. Fantastic. So we'll keep those calculations in our back pocket for when we program the box. One thing I haven't done yet is started the boarding process. So let's get the APU bleed on, get those packs cycling some air. And my rudder's from shaking. There we go, that's better. Weights and balances, send request. We are going to have 160 passengers tonight. So full-ish. Cool, so boarding is underway. IRSs are still aligning. We're still refueling. We have a couple of minutes until that is ready to go. Let's prepare Looking at the departure, there really are no restrictions, no SID to fly, no instructions for takeoff. Let me pull up the rest of the charts actually. Let's see if there's any other, there's really no other information available. No reference chart, no stars, there's some approach charts, but I think we just go ahead and clear ourselves to cruise. So come in here to the glare shield. Get that brightened up a bit. And set our altitude to 390. Pretty cool. Alright, no rad navs either. So once refueling is complete and the IRSs are aligned, we'll head to the box. Alright, IRSs are aligned and refueling is complete. Fantastic. So we'll go ahead and turn those fuel pumps on, get those seatbelts on, and let's program our box. Alright, IRSs are all showing nav. We have the correct engines and the latest AIRAC cycle, so that looks good. Heading to init A. And here we will do it manually tonight. So Papa Alpha Sierra Yankee / Papa Alpha Sierra November. And our alternate is Papa Alpha Charlie Delta. Papa Alpha Charlie Delta. We are Alaska Alpha Sierra Alpha 9084. Cost index of 10. Cruise flight level 390. Tropopause is lower than that on average according to our flight plan, 29845. And that all looks good. Heading to the flight plan. Ooh, boarding is completed. Very nice. We will put in our routing. So we are going direct to Amand. Alpha Mike Oscar November Delta. And then from there we will be taking Airway Romeo 591.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your captain, the first officer, and cabin crew, I'd like to take this time to welcome you aboard our flight. We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to receive final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a very important safety briefing. We do ask that you give them your full, undivided attention as they review the safety operations of this Airbus aircraft. We do appreciate your business having you aboard this flight. If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask. Welcome aboard.
Alright, so we're taking that airway to Aleph. Go ahead and insert that. And that is our routing. So let's take a look at the plan and just cycle through it. Make sure all looks good. So PASY to Amand, Aldaz, Aleph. Let's zoom out and see the whole thing. And there's our destination. And we'll likely vector to intercept the ILS. Pretty easy. Let's program our departure. It doesn't know what runway we're taking, which is why it's showing blank right now. So going to departure, we're taking off runway 10. And there's no seats available. We'll just go ahead and insert that. And we'll clear this discontinuity because we'll connect directly to Mond, and there's the line. Perfect. Alright, no rad navs available. Let's go to init B. 0 fuel weight of 59.1 tons, and that matches perfectly. So we'll plug that in. 24.3 on the center of gravity. So we'll just set our trim now, 24.3. So that's approximately there. Let's call it there. And that is a trim value of 0.6 up. So we'll just remember that. Fuel, block fuel of 6.8. And wind, was it a tailwind of 7 knots? Let's get the rest of our fuel information in there. So we're looking at 0.5, 2, and 0.9. 0.5, 2, and 0.9, giving us a minute of extra fuel. That's been a really tight calculation of late, but that's fine with final reserve and the route reserve and the alternate. I think we'll have plenty in case we need to divert. And if not, we'll just make things interesting. All right, finally, performance. So I'm going to pull up SimSmart one more time. And we'll go ahead and copy that data over. So we're going to do a... Oh, and actually, you know what? Yeah, no, that's a forward center of gravity because it was 24 and change. We're going to do flaps 1 and up 0.6 for the flap setting. Our flex temp tonight is 65 degrees. Transition altitude, I believe it's 18,000 feet everywhere in the States. We'll double check on our chart just now. And engine out, acceleration altitude, and thrust reduction, acceleration altitude. I know on SimSmart it sets to 1,000 feet above. We'll keep ours to 1,500 for now. Alright, so V speeds 146 V1, 146 V rotate, and 148 for single engine V2. Alright, that is everything set up. It's predicting a green dot speed of 220 knots. We're showing 217. Okay. Sounds good. So we'll shut down SimSmart. And I think we are ready to go. So let's get all these services out of the way. It doesn't make sense to push back. We're just going to make a right turn onto the runway here. We're going to have to clip through some vehicles, but that's fine. So I won't be showing off the pushback mod tonight, but let's get those stairs away. We're on APU power, so disconnect from external power, get that power away. Catering and baggage can all disconnect. All right. So let's go through our initial checklists. Before start checklist, cockpit prep is complete. Fuel messages is sent. Don't need the gear pins and covers. Signs. Set that to auto. And internal signs are on. IRSs are on nav. Fuel quantity is set 6.8. Takeoff data is set. Bow ref is set. Windows and doors are closed. Beacon is coming on. Hey, Ivan.
Flight attendants, armed doors,
and hey, Pentagon, how you guys doing? Yeah, no, we're back in North America, and we are in the Western Aleutian Islands, and we're heading to St. Paul tonight. We're going to be in the States for the next few flights, then going down through Canada, and then back to the States for the duration. It's really awesome to see inches mercury versus QNH. So I've been enjoying that nice little change after 40-something flights. All right, and we're going to be starting on stand. Erickson traffic, Alaska 9084 at the hangars, starting on stand. Erickson traffic. All right, so setting engines to ignition, engine to start. Love seeing the hydraulic systems power up here. So there's the Y system being powered up by engine number 2. There goes system Bravo, or Blue rather. Engine 2 start, engine 1 start. Get the timer running. So since this is going to be like an instant taxi, we'll do pretty much everything up into before takeoff below the line right here before we get moving. Alright, there are all the hydraulic systems powered up. It'll be another gorgeous departure. Alright, 2 good engine starts. So after start, anti-ice is not required, ecam status is checked, turning it back, engine mode back to normal. Pitch trim is set, and rudder trim is neutral. We'll go ahead and close the cockpit door. Alright, so let's get ready for before takeoff. Do flight control check, so full left, full right, neutral, full forward, full back, neutral, rudder disconnect, full left, full right, and neutral, and pitch trim is set to 0.6 up. That looks good. Let's go ahead, we'll go ahead and just turn all of our lights on now because no one's around to shout at us. So lights are configured for takeoff. We'll get our weather system turned on, predictive wind shear.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
We'll set ATC to on and TCAS to on, TARA. What else do we need to do? We'll need to set flaps for takeoff. Flaps 1. And go ahead and turn the APU bleed off and the APU off. It can come off at this point. We'll turn PACs off at the end of the runway when we're ready to roll. And I think, oh yes, auto brake set to max. Let's go through our before takeoff checklist. Flight controls are checked, flight instruments are checked, briefing is confirmed, flap settings set, flex temp and V speeds are set, ATC is set, and we'll get the ECAM memo once we are moving. So at this point, this one, it's going to be about an hour and 40 minutes in the air. We'll be in the air in no time. Parking brake is coming off. Ground spoilers are armed. We're ready rolling on our own power. Let's go ahead and turn towards the runway. So do our cabin check. Doesn't want to acknowledge I'm doing the cabin check. There we go. Takeoff config, ECAM memo, takeoff no blue. Ericsson traffic, Alaska 9084, back taxiing runway 10. Yeah, Ericsson traffic. Just double check. I think there's like one plane near our route, but I don't think they're coming anywhere near us. Yeah, Ivan would love that. Next flight is from St. Paul to Anchorage, so that will be a good one. And hopefully, if we're lucky, we'll get ATC coverage on that one. We may still even get it tonight. Who knows? All right. Get up to speed a little bit. I'm literally in the middle of nowhere. But this is how you cross the Pacific 2 hours at a time. You have to fly north and take advantage of the land bridge with Alaska. That's the whole shtick, right? Around the world 2 hours at a time. Alright, before takeoff below the line, takeoff runway is confirmed, cabin crew is advised, TCAS is on TARA, engine mode is set to normal, PAX will turn off right before we're ready. Yeah, so what's interesting about this flight, guys, is our arrival. Yeah, seriously, Ivan. Yeah, Santa might be out there. So I'm just going to throw up in chats. I'm getting all fancy with my commands now. But this is the METAR of our destination airport. And let me know if anything looks odd to you guys. What is notable about that METAR? Yeah, little by little, every day. Every day. I was raided the other night, and those guys gave me a tip about a flight sim chat bot. Bad visibility, yeah. And low ceilings. So 200-foot ceilings, half-mile visibility, and fog. So basically, right down to minimums. If they don't have like an auto land capability on the ILS, then like we may actually have to divert. We'll see. But we'll brief the arrival when we're in the air. I haven't looked at the charts yet myself. Like I'm intentionally being a little dangerous about it just to make this a little more fun. But yeah, this is going to be a horrible visibility landing. And windy. And I don't know what direction the wind is blowing relative to the runway, so we'll need to look at that as well. We may even have like a crosswind on top of it all. Alright, slow down a bit for this turn. Alright. Did I nail it? That looks pretty bang on. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Alright, let's turn our packs off for this flex takeoff. Erickson traffic, Alaska 9084, taking off runway 10. Erickson traffic. Alright, let's roll. Takeoff. N1 to 50%. Engine stable. Man flex, SRS. Hundred knots. Wow, we are flying down this runway. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Just gonna hand fly it for a little bit because why not? It's fun. Alright. Climb thrust. Thrust climb climb. Pitching down to speed up. Get this PAX back on at this point. And we're about to turn to our first waypoint. Speed checked, flaps up, spoilers disarmed. This feels really good to hand fly. Oh yeah, there's the breakout. Oh yeah, we'll have to brighten up those screens. I can't see a thing. Pitch up a bit. Stay on that flight director. Yeah, did you sign on early enough? I gave it a shot tonight, Ivan. And it's still quite buggy, honestly. We had a lot of trouble with it on our last flight, but I believe it when they say it's the most accurate performance calculator we can have for the fly-by-wire. I trust EasyJet's pilot. He wouldn't steer us wrong. But yeah, but that takeoff was using his calculator. They are updating it pretty frequently, which is nice. Alright, after takeoff, checklist, landing gears up, flaps are retracted, packs are on, bow ref is set. And since we're effectively cleared to 39,000 feet, I'll go ahead and put on standard pressure. Whoa, wow, look at that tape jump. So still hand flying it. Oh, 10,000 feet. Pitch down to accelerate. Get the lights off here. Yeah, I don't see why not. It's actually, I mean, it's really affordable when you think about it. If you fly a lot, use it a lot, and they've been updating it a lot. I think like every few days there's a new update. And if you follow his Discord channel, EasyJet Sim Pilot on Discord, they're very active, kind of sharing feedback on bugs and improvements. So if you do encounter any issues, you can hop over there and they'll help you out. Alright, I might hand fly this all the way up to cruise tonight. Why not? And then we'll figure out what kind of disaster awaits us on our approach. Alright. This is also the benefit of the Airbus with its auto trim. You get your crosshairs in the position you want and basically leave it hands-free. Just small adjustments here and there. But no back pressure, no forward pressure, just nice and light touch. Alright, let's get a better view of our route. See, the VNav has our top of descent in about, what do you say, about 100 miles? Top of climb, rather. Top of climb. Gonna brighten up the ECAM. Go ahead and turn off those seatbelt signs. And let's do a quick exterior shot. Pretty epic, just sea and clouds. Alright, so we'll trust my my trim there. We'll head over to Valanta real quick. Oh, what happened to Valanta? Looks like you guys can't see it. Hold on. That is damn strange. There we go. Alright. So this is our route. We just left Erickson Air Station heading to St. Paul. And you can see that's roughly halfway here to Anchorage. It looks a little less than halfway, but of course we're looking at the Earth on a flat surface. Taking into account the curvature of the Earth, St. Paul is pretty much halfway between Erickson and Anchorage, which will be our next stop after this. The other hiccup with St. Paul Island Airport is that the runway is actually kind of short. Yeah, truly middle of nowhere. I'm trying to think. The last time we were this remote was when we left North America. We had to fly up here to Iqaluit in the province of Nunavut, and then cross over to Greenland, and then to Reykjavik. Actually, this is probably more in the middle of nowhere than even that, to be honest. This looks a lot more like settled than this, the Bering Sea. But yeah, no, there is a little island with a runway, and I am not convinced it's long enough. So we'll do our landing distance calculations as well, for sure. Oh, and I'm off my flight path. What happens when you take a Volanta break and you're not on autopilot? Alright, still getting a nice healthy climb rate, about 2100 feet per minute. That's aided in a very small part by a bit of a headwind, giving us more lift on the wings, even though it is decreasing our ground speed. Nice, Ivan. It was really fun seeing you in Sapporo last week. Or was that 2 weeks ago now? How long ago was that? Can't recall if that was before or after we did cross the pond. You know what? It must have been before. It was definitely before. That was like 2 weeks ago. Because I was flying this plane. I wasn't flying the 787. 3 weeks. Was it 3 weeks? Almost. Yeah. Because I took the week off, the week before Cross the Pond, to prepare for Cross the Pond. And then I took the week off after Cross the Pond, because Cross the Pond was so intense. So, that sounds about right. Yeah, you know, it went by faster than I thought it would. So I did Amsterdam to Boston, which is about 7 hours in the air, and I chose an early flight. Um, you know what? I haven't tried salty yet. I'm actually dying to, because I think did they just forked it, right? So now it's not using the Asoba model anymore. They have their own, like the fly-by-wire. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, I gotta give that a shot. So I haven't flown it yet, but it's on my wish list. But yeah, for across the pond, we did Amsterdam to Boston, about 7 hours. I got a slot time of 11 Zulu, so that was like about 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I got up at 5:30, made myself a cappuccino, had some breakfast, came down to the basement, started doing my pre-flight at around 6:20 in the morning, and wrapped up, landed in Boston at about 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And then I went outside and it was like friggin' blinding. Felt like I'd come out of Plato's cave. I had to reply to a casual conversation with my call sign. It was embarrassing. Yeah, I know. When I fly salty, I'm definitely going to do it on stream. I feel like I've committed to the A320 for the duration of the around the world journey, but we only have like 9 flights left before we get back to Newark. So probably the first flight we do once we get back home, I'll try the salty out. I did do a test endurance flight to see if the computer would handle it, because I heard frame rates would like collapse after 3 or 4 hours. So I did a little mod to my registry editor to turn off network monitoring that apparently is a potential culprit for lost frames after a few hours of simming. And performance improved after that. So thankfully, the computer held up pretty well. Yes, the welcome party is in Newark. It is my real-life local international airport. And that's where we started the around the world journey. So we only had one US flight this entire trip. The first flight was Newark to Montreal. And we just got back to the States this last flight, which was leg 40, what are we on? This is 46th, so 45 flights to get back to the States. Yeah, I don't drink enough on stream. That's one of the benefits of fake flying, is that you can actually drink while you fly. I don't know why I waited this long to do hand flying. This is just really relaxing. Alright, so we have our calculated top of descent coming into view. Looks to be roughly 70 miles after Aldaz. But we'll do our own calculation as well, because I still don't trust the VNAV system on the descent. Got what, like 6 minutes to top of climb, and then once we're up there, I'll get the autopilot on and we'll do a pre-brief of our arrival, because there'll be some things to chat through if that weather still looks pretty bad. couldn't tell from up here that we have a half-mile visibility waiting for us once we get to St. Paul. Just to make this a bit more efficient, because of course the climb rate is falling as we get higher, I'm going to activate the autopilot now. Just so we can get to cruise as fast as possible, as efficiently as possible. Take a look at our tape here. Cool. So, I think let's get a little preview of our approach. So, let's actually clear those charts, the departure charts, because we don't need it anymore. Ooh, oh no! It crashed, friends. That was great recovery, and honestly, you know, that kind of air handling, that is pro, man. That is pro moves. Alright, going back to our charts. 2, of course, no stars. There are... So an ILS 36. Actually, I didn't check what runway we're expecting on arrival. Of course, we're expecting the one that's not an ILS. That's going to be a problem. Runway 18, and if we look at the weather, shit, that is the better one. That is the better one because we want that headwind. All right. So this is going to be even more challenged. Oh well, it is. Oh, it's a low DME, so it's not all bad. It's not all bad. There is an RNAV option. Oh shit, we might actually want to do the RNAV. Let's look at the minimums difference. So straight in landing, it's pretty high, 514 feet, and that is probably not going to work for us. And look at the visibility. I think, man, it's been so long since I've looked at US charts, I've forgotten if this is in miles or thousands of feet. Probably thousands of feet. Let's look at the RNAV by comparison. Oh, it's worse. Those are higher minimums. How about the ILS? So those are standard ILS minimums, 200 feet, and that's a and 3/4 mile, assuming that's a mile visibility. And that's pretty much what we're going to get. And that is more straight in. So yeah, we'll have a tailwind, but we'll clear the minimums, or we'll have a better chance of clearing the minimums. Alright, so I think we're going to alter our plan. We are going to do the ILS runway 36. And pray to God we have sight of the runway at minimums. Yeah, I don't think this airport supports auto lands either. The sim might. Like, we may still be able to do an auto land if we had to. It would be kind of like cheating, because I don't think the real airport would support it. Okay. Well, that's decided. So runway 36. Let's look at the vertical profile. We'll want to get to 3,400 feet by Hinkle. So are we at cruise yet? Just about. We're just about speed 2. We'll probably settle at 0.78 or 0.785. So let's just do back of the envelope calculator to get to 3,400 feet from 39,000 to 3,400. Standard descent angle and about 112 nautical miles. So let's call it 120. Give us some more time. So, coming in here, going to flight plan, let's go to our fixes page. We'll put in Hinkle, Hotel India November Kilo Lima, and a radius of 120 miles. And let's compare that. Oh, interesting. Oh, you know what? It has our top of descent earlier because we haven't actually programmed our approach yet, so we can't really compare that yet. Okay, but that is set. The next thing we should check before it's too late is runway length, because it's unclear if we have enough runway for the A320. It's only 6,500 feet long. So let's go ahead and take a look at the landing calculator. Fill in data. So that's our airport. This is the latest METAR. Do centigrade. And okay, perfect. Runway altitude we can get from the... so it's about, let's call it 50 feet. Runway heading for runway 36, and that wind is going to be an issue as well, because it means we'll need more runway to stop. But runway heading is 360 even. Runway slope, we'll just say 0%. And length in feet is 6,500. The visibility is pretty bad. Definitely not VFR conditions. Let's actually let's take a quick look. I don't see you on Valenza yet. I'm not sure if you're connected to VATSIM, but we'll keep an eye out for you. Approach speed, we haven't calculated that yet, but let's assume 140 to be conservative. And our weight, that is heavier than we will be at landing. Let's actually see. Landing weight is 62,000 tons. Or 62,000 kilograms. I actually don't know what the measurement is. But 62,000, whatever it is. 62,000 kilograms, okay. Definitely flaps full. No overweight. Reverse thrust is yes. And calculates. Oh my god. That is not what you want to see.
I do want to remind you to please keep your feet elbows clear from the aisle, as the flight attendants will be coming through the cabin with galley carts shortly. Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating with the front galley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
That is not what you want to see, guys. It's basically saying, like, you're an idiot for landing here. But we'll do max manual. Like, that's normally reserved for aborted takeoffs, but I'm sure in a situation like this, oh, this is gonna be a fun landing, guys. I would get fired from this airline for even attempting it. Okay. All right. Well, we're here. Let's get a sense of timing. So we're expected at St. Paul at 20 past the hour. So that is okay. So we can start our. Well, we could basically just finish it now. I normally do my descent preparations about 40 minutes out. We'll wait to get our METAR information until we're just a little bit closer. But in the meantime, we can at least program our approach into St. Paul. So we'll do the ILS 36. There are no stars, no transitions. Just go ahead and insert that. It's going to calculate a new top of descent for us. And just make sure this all still looks good. So aloft, top of descent, Hinkle, digs, and the runway. There is VNAV data, which is nice. So we could let VNAV take us all the way down, but it is an ILS, so we'll use the ILS. Yeah, we're still too far away to see it on here, but but this is a good view. So yeah, so this is our calculated top of descent. The VNAV wants us to descend even later. But the last time I allowed it to go to top of descent, so it's calculated, I didn't get down in time. And I think the VNAV still struggles to lose altitude, so we'll try manage descent when we get to our calculated top of descent. But if we struggle, we'll just do open descent. Alright, so that's that. I didn't see any radnavs on the approach. Oh, there is. There's the St. Paul VOR. So we'll get that in the box as well. Sierra Papa Yankee. .418 nautical miles. Get that turned on. Up close and personal to that switch. Alright, so that's fine. We'll brief missed approach when we're a bit closer. There's some nearby airports, although our alternate would have been a better option for runway length and probably weather conditions as well. But it was too far away, and I wasn't willing to fly that long tonight. So instead, I'm putting everyone on this plane in mortal danger. Alright, let's check in. Okay, I think, yeah, I see Ivan now at St. Paul, so let's hop over to Valanta. Looks like he's in pre-flight in a Cessna 172. Very nice choice. Doing some IFR, I'd assume, with 200-foot ceilings and fog. And practically no visibility. Seeing as we have some time, get to Aldaz in 13 minutes. Yeah, we have probably like half an hour until, just under half an hour until we get to top descent. Well, we're gonna descend at a luff, so I can't do math right now. Okay, yeah, a little over half an hour. I'm going to quickly look up this airport. So St. Paul Island in Alaska is the largest of a group of 4 Alaskan volcanic islands located in the Bering Sea between the United States and Russia. City of St. Paul is the only residential area on the island. It's only 43 square miles, so that's actually a decent size. It has one school, K through 12, only 76 students. One post office, one bar, one store, and one church. Let's see. There's actually a lot of information about this place. Ah, this is a picture of the lone Russian Orthodox Church on St. Paul Island. That's fun. They generate their power from wind. I can't tell. I'm detecting chat sarcasm, Ivan. Let's see. Let's see if the airport has some interesting history. St. Paul Island Airport. State-owned public use airport. Scheduled airline service to Anchorage International Port is provided by Raven, Alaska, not Alaska Airlines. Serves 3,300 passengers a year. One runway, asphalt surface. It handles 34 flights per month. 63% air taxi, 24% military, and 12% general aviation. Do you get it? Or do you, is that also sarcasm? I'm a fool, but you know what? I wanted to have an entertaining stream, as opposed to one where everything just goes right. Like, where's the fun in that? How's the runway look? Does the runway look short to you? Does it feel? Yeah, I see you just took off, so. You'll have. Thanks. I really appreciate you jumping ahead and scouting it out, Ivan. Yeah, oh god. Yeah, I'm actually just going to set max. Actually, it won't let me. Interesting. Can I set medium? Yes. But I can't set max. So I might just be on rudders. Was it dry? Because if it's contaminated, we might be real screwed. Let me go back to that landing calculator again. Just want to. Oh, it's so bad. It's dry, thank God. If it wasn't, let's just see. Let's just see. Even if it was medium. Yeah, wouldn't be enough. Wouldn't be enough runway. We'd be totally screwed. Alright, let's see if we can get our approach speed even slower, if that helps. It does. We'd squeeze in a medium, but just barely. Just barely. pretty choppy as well, I imagine. Oh yeah, let's fill in data from the METAR. Maybe it's updated. Alright, wind's got a little better. Wind's got a little better. Okay. We'll keep an eye on it. In, let's call it 15 minutes, we'll get the latest METAR information. So, Ivan, are you experiencing any icing conditions? Low-lying clouds, temperature's only 2 degrees Celsius. I'd have to imagine so. Negative, okay. Trying to think of what to do now. Like, the anticipation is kind of killer. When you're bored, just go through your eCam screens. Make sure everything looks good. Yep, getting air. I do want to test one day the ram air system. I'm curious to see if they actually animate the ram air turbine deploying. It's located, let's see if we can actually see the door. It's somewhere in the undercarriage. If I can get closer. Yeah, I can't tell where it is exactly. It's somewhere underneath there. Great. Yeah, you're instilling so much confidence right now. Man. It's all in good fun though. But yeah, ram air is there, underneath there somewhere. Cabin altitude 8,000 feet. Electrical systems, everything looks green. I actually never noticed the hydraulic fluid does move. I'm not sure if it's accurately modeled yet, but the levels have changed. It looks like we've been using the blue system more heavily. What is the blue system control? So rudder, elevators, pretty much all the flight controls are on blue. Where we fuel. Looking pretty good. All the doors are closed. Always good to check. Alright, that killed about 2 minutes. It's actually, let's play with the 8-ball. Will we survive this flight? Oh, good. Okay. Will I butter the landing? Oh, cool down. That's lame. How could the cooldown apply to the person who's streaming? That just doesn't seem fair. Alright, well, if you all want to play with the 8-ball, it's there for you. Oh, fair. Buttering should not be the goal. The goal should be to hit the ground early and firmly. Silly me. Although we'll be coming in runway 18. So we would just crash into ground, I guess. Right? Is that what I programmed in? No, wait. Sorry, runway 36, but still, yeah, no, that is, I got myself turned around. That is the south to north runway. And Ivan, I see you over the Bering Sea now. Headed right for us. Are you above the clouds at 4,500 feet? Let's take a look. At your climb profile there. Here we come. Oh, this is weird. It looks like Volanta bugged out. We must have crossed some kind of invisible line. Because it claims we just circumnavigated the globe. Oh well. Barely. So I see Anchorage Tower is online. They've been online for a while. Because if someone connects to center, we may get coverage. And they'll be like, what the hell are you doing? And I'll be like, I'm the pilot in command. You can't tell me what to do. How are we looking on time? Yeah, so anticipating getting on the ground at 40 past. Which seems a little conservative, actually. Considering we're only 300 miles away. What's our ground speed? Oh, actually, that might be about right. So Hinkle, how far away is Hinkle from the runway? 11 miles. Oh boy. Yeah, let's actually take a closer look at this. So there's Hinkle. So we're not connecting to digs. It's projecting this turn because we're going so damn fast, but once we slow, but we'll definitely want to configure well ahead. Probably about 10 miles out from Hinkle. We'll want to be getting our flaps out a bit, slowing down. Make that turn nice and easy. We want to make sure we have plenty of time to stabilize on the ILS. But this looks like a better approach angle than doing the DME arc, which I do think the fly-by-wire can support now. I haven't played around with it, but we'll be coming in more from this direction, so that's a bit safer. All right, missed approach. Just to brief that, climb to 2700 on the localizer north course to Evan. 5 miles from the airport, or 5 miles from the VOR, and hold. Oh, it does fly DME arcs. Nice. We'll have to find an opportunity to try that out. Like, where would you... Like, I assume you don't manually program the arc. You choose a transition maybe on the arc and would fly it. Oh, this is interesting. Looking at the VNav. Wait, is Hinkle really that close? Yeah, it is. Here it says 25 miles to Diggs. Oh, because of that friggin' curve. Because we're not going slow enough. This is all gonna change when we get closer, and when we slow down. I see. So they're actually calculating VNav values. They're not taking it from the AirX. Alright, so top of descent, just under 20 minutes. I need to just find a shortcut to these. Which is the one I like? None of these. Ah, this one. That's relaxing. This usually is my favorite seat on the plane. Although, do I like... Not really over the wing. You don't really get the view. But behind the wing, actually... Yeah, the calm before the storm. Tell me about it. Oh, the chatbots are fun. You chose a bad week to quit drinking. That's an airplane reference, I believe. Actually, I take full credit for the 8-ball responses because I wrote them all myself. But I've already forgotten what I wrote, so it's just entertaining when something like that pops up. Oh, not what I meant to press. That moon is awesome. 250,000 miles away. So actually, speaking of, bear with me for a second. Before I got into flight sim, because I'm a ridiculous human being, I was really into space simulations. And there's this one freeware space sim called Orbiter. That's, I think, built by hand by this one developer. Offers it for free. I think it is open source, but on top of that platform, which models orbital mechanics and the physics of spaceflight incredibly well. There's a group of volunteer developers as well that developed something called Project Apollo, and it's a full simulation of the Saturn V rocket that took man to the moon. And you can actually fly the full flight plan of Apollo 11, which I think spans 7 days from start to finish. Step by step. So I actually, on Amazon, bought a copy of the original Apollo 11 flight plan. And this thing is nuts. Like, every single procedure, every single hour of the flight is mapped out. There's tasks by person, by crew member, and if you follow this to the letter in the space sim, you get to the moon. It's crazy. I actually did the full sim once over the course of like a few months, because you have to do it like a few hours at a time, and you do time acceleration because like you don't want to sit around for 6 hours while the astronauts are sleeping, right? Because that's all pre-planned in the flight plan. But it was an absolutely insane experience, and they've done such a good job. And actually, you know what, Ivan? Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it again. But it really gives you a deep appreciation of what those men had to do in the 60s to travel 250,000 miles and back in this little cramped capsule. It's absolutely unbelievable. Travel 250,000 miles, land on another celestial body, take off from that other celestial body, rendezvous with their command module in orbit, and then come home. It's madness. It's absolutely insane. Like, this is so simple by comparison, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, Orbiter and Project Apollo, it's all free. Feel free to check it out. Yes, actually, one last thing on this. So, the other crazy thing about this space sim is they took one of the old Apollo guidance computers, and they preserved the original software, and they created an emulator in this sim that takes the original code that powered the guidance computer on the Saturn V rockets and plugged it in to the Project Apollo and Orbiter space sim, to the point where I also had to buy this book, Apollo Guidance Computer. This is actually highly technical. This is more technical than you need to actually do the sim, but it's a full technical manual on how the Apollo Guidance Computer actually worked and how to use it, because it's all noun and verb code combinations. And if you don't know the codes, you can't operate the computer. Now, thankfully, a lot of the codes are included in the flight plan, but I had to reference like the index of command codes doing that sim as well. I got real deep. I got in real deep. I'm impressed my wife is still with me. But yeah, it's just awesome. No, seriously, geek levels is off the charts. I freely admit this to people I've never met on the internet. But there's awesome YouTube videos about the guys that downloaded the original software from the actual memory modules and created this emulator. It's pretty amazing. It's a group of computer scientists, professors, and students that are just obsessed with Apollo era spaceflight that endeavor to do this, and they preserved a piece of history in the result. And now we all get to play with it for free. I'm done. I'm finished. But clearly I'm very passionate about this. Alright, so Ivan, have you landed yet, or are you still... I see you circled the airport. Let me throw Valanta back up on the screen for our other friends in the Twitch stream. Alright, we're getting pretty close. I think, yeah, we're close enough to get our METAR information. So let me get it in the chat there. Alright, this is, oh, this is very current. Perfect. This is just published. Still shitty conditions. Shit. It's still pretty bad. All right, but let's get that in the box. Actually, let me check. How much time do we have? All right, we have some time. Performance. All right, QNH 29905. Temperature is 1 degree, so it's gotten a bit colder. Magnitude and wind 130, 12 knots. Transition altitude is always 18,000 feet in the US. Nice and easy to remember. Radio minimum's 200 feet. We got that from the chart. And our approach speed is 130 knots, so actually slower than I think we were predicting. So let's see, does that make a difference on our landing calculator? It should. 130 knots calculates. And we could do a medium. So I'm going to set medium, but we'll definitely manually brake. I don't think there's any way around it. See how we do. All right, let's remind ourselves we are descending to 3,400 feet at Hinkle. We'll intercept the glide slope at 1,500 feet. So get this down to 4,000. Down to 34. Okay, that's all ready to go. TCAS set to below. All right, 20 miles from top of descent. Ivan, I see you on final approach. Godspeed to you, sir. Yeah, wind is favoring runway 18, but the ILS had lower minimums. So we're dealing with the tailwind just to guarantee we'll be able to make the approach. So apologies if I messed you up there. You probably could have taken runway 18. But a 12 knot tailwind is definitely within tolerances for the A320. Did you do the ILS yourself? Alright, here comes that blue line, everyone. Alright. Open descent. Thrust to idle. So we start our descent about 40 miles before the calculated top of descent.
From the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated until the aircraft arrives safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
It is predicting we'll get to 3,400 feet well before Hinkle, which is just what we want. And how does that compare with the VNAV? Yeah, so the VNAV is calculating it would want us at 8,000 feet at Hinkle, but that is 11 miles from the runway. As we slow down, it would probably want us to be lower than that, and there's a chance by the time we slow down, it'll be too late to descend that quickly. But we'll just keep an eye on this and see what it does. I'm curious to see how it reacts as we get lower. Yeah, look at that METAR. Quarter mile of visibility, fog, and 200-foot ceilings. And freezing temperatures. If we read Cat 3 dual, we might actually need to do autoland. That might have to be the call. Even though the real airport probably doesn't have autoland capabilities. I don't know. Actually, I'll leave it to you guys to decide. Should I... If the autoland is available, should I take it? Thanks, Ivan. Did you make it on the ground? Are you on the ground safely? So folks, our friend Ivan here is at the destination scouting it for us. Apparently visibility is bad and it's bumpy. Congratulations, you survived. Alright, let's get in our QNH since we're cleared to below transition. So 29er, 9er 5. Alright, QNH is set. I feel bad for the controller who's online at Anchorage Tower, like no one is there. If he connects to center, he can control us into this crazy approach. Wow, that looks seriously fluffy. Okay, it now has us on the ground at just about 20 minutes. And yeah, and the altitude at Hinkle is going down as we slow down, which makes sense. So if we were flying VNAV, it would get us down to this dynamic altitude. But if we look at, because we're still going so fast, it has us missing the turn for final. But of course we're losing speed as the air gets thicker. And of course once we drop below 10,000 feet, we'll normalize to 250 knots. And that turn will get tighter and tighter. And this altitude that it wants us to be at that point will get lower and lower. Because this is only 10 miles from the airport. And our goal is to get to 3,400 feet. So right now it's still showing about 1,600 feet too high. Alright, we're going to be 3,400 feet well in advance. Is that actually too far? I'm actually going to change the plan. I'm going to take us down to 11,000 feet just before deceleration. And we'll see, we'll track. We don't want to be flying in the soup needlessly. What's the ceiling on the METAR? It doesn't say. It just gives you the vertical visibility. Hey Nico, yes, it's real bad tonight. But welcome to the channel. Welcome to the madness. Oh, why is that? What are you flying tonight, Nico? Yeah, you got a crab. You got crab angle that shit. Alright, we're below transition. I can't tell how high these ceilings are. Would you call them ceilings or would you call them floors? Brisbane to Hawaii. Oh goodness, how far did you make it? Brisbane to Hawaii, so that... Are you over the ocean? Where are you diverting to? Let's see. If you're on VATSIM, I'm going to see if I can find you. Yeah, I'm not seeing anyone on VATSIM heading that way. Yeah, no, I'm going to stick to my weird, middle of nowhere, random Alaska route. That seems a lot safer. VATSIM is the Virtual Air Traffic Control Network. So it's actually for all the SIMs. It allows you to fly with air traffic control coverage if they're online. So if you hear me making radio calls, it's because I'm talking on frequency. But it's I'll type it in the message. Definitely check it out. It's next level hardcore flight simulation. That's how I'm able to fly with Ivan right now. So there's a break in the clouds here. I can see all the way down to the ocean. But yeah, let me do a plug for VATSIM real quick. So this is Volanta. Volanta is an app they can use to track. But all of these flights you see, these are all planes flying on the VATSIM network. And all of these regions that are in blue, or all of these airports with little letters next to them, those are parts of the network with air traffic control coverage. So if you're flying in over Kansas City right now, for example, you would tune your radios to 125.725 and you'll interact with the Kansas City controller. And you have to know your IFR flight rules. To fly, you have to take like a little exam to get onto the network. But yeah, we all suck at ATC when we first do it, but they actually host events for newbies, and once you do it a few times, it makes it a lot of fun. Alright, here we're leveling off at 11,000. Get back to the flights. Probably have to start concentrating now because we're getting close. Alright, so now let me, if I were to descend now, do manage descent. And now it will take us to 3,400 on VNAV. Okay, so that all normalized. Interesting. Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to do open descent again because it's not going to get us down in time. Floaties aren't allowed tonight. No, it didn't seem to. At least it would take me a lot longer to get down because I just tried the VNAV and I had that weird squiggly line, which means I need to catch up to the descent profile, and you never do. At least not yet. It works great on departures, but the arrivals are still a little wonky. Yeah, good luck, Nico. I think we'll be on the ground in about 50 minutes. Speed limit exceeded. That must have been from the moment. Oh, I see. We're slowing down now because we're below 10,000 feet. Landing lights are coming on. 10,000 feet checks. Constraints. Let's do our approach checklist. Briefing is confirmed. ECAM status is checked. Seatbelt signs are coming on. The landing distance is confirmed. It looks bad. Seatbelts are on. Bow refs are set. Minimums are set. Engine mode is normal. Approach checklist complete. Yeah, that might actually be normal, Nico, because if you actually look at our ECAM here, I think like on the airbus right here, that orange line here represents maximum thrust, even though it's not quite to 100%. I forget the exact reason why that is, but I don't think you would ever get to 100% for various reasons. We'll turn our landing system at this point. I feel a lot better when I see that ILS come in. I'm going to take one last look at our charts here, but for performance reasons, I'm going to turn the EFB off. So once we pass Hinkle, we want to get down to 1500. That's the last reference of this. And our missed approach is 2700. Okay. Turn that off, save some frames. Alright, perfect. We'll get to 3,400 feet. Less than 10 miles from Hinkle. We'll activate the approach. Slow ourselves down. We want to make that turn at Hinkle nice and tight. We don't want this, we don't want to overshoot the localizer. It's wild that we're not picking up the VOR yet. Alright. We're in the clouds now, friends. Oh yeah, into the soup, just nice. Ivan and I are on the same wavelength. Alright, there we go. VOR is active. And we're picking up the ILS. Good. Good, good, good. Dim these screens a bit. It's about to get dark. Might be the last time we see blue sky ever. Yeah, so according to weather report, we have a half-mile visibility, 200-foot ceilings, and fog. It's probably the worst possible visual conditions to land. That's what also makes it fun. Alright, we're at altitude. Let us activate the approach phase, get ourselves slowed down. We'll get our next step descent in 1,500 feet to intercept the glide slope. Yeah, agreed. Definitely more fun like this. You can kind of see the fog ahead. It's so cool, man. This sim, absolutely nuts. Alright, we're at green dot speed. Speed checked, flaps 1. Definitely want to slow down even more. Speed checked, flaps 2. Localizer coming in, activating the approach mode. Autopilot 2. Cat 3 dual. So we do have auto land if we want it. Gear down. You can smell auto land.
2,500.
Radio altimeters alive. St. Paul traffic, Alaska 9084 on 10-mile final for the ILS runway 36 St. Paul traffic. Speed brakes armed. Alt star. Glide slope armed. Wow, guys. Cannot see crap. Speed check flaps 3. Yeah, we could still do the visual final if we can see the runway at 200 feet. So like we have until the very last second. Having deja vu now. Yeah, Ivan just did this. Glide slope star. Glide slope locked. Speed checked. Flaps full. Alright, we are fully configured for landing.
1,000.
1,000 check. Landing checklist, cabin crews advised, auto throttles on speed, auto brake is set to medium, ECAM memo, landing, no blue, landing checklist complete. Struggling to get down to that approach speed. Can I set max? No, I can't. Alright, guys. This is it.
500.
500 feet, still can't see anything.
400.
400. Oh my God.
100 above.
There's the runway. There it is.
Minimum.
Continue.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Reverse green. Decel. This is a short runway. My God. 70 knots. Rolling out. Look at that. Look at that. If you don't hit that follow button right now, what's wrong with you? Oh, man. What was that landing rate? What was that landing rate? Nico, yes, thank you. Yes! You made it all worth it. I wasn't quite on center line. The landing rate felt good, though. What was the stat? I'm gonna check Volanta real quick. What was the stat? It doesn't tell me yet. It'll tell me later. But anyway. We gotta back taxi this thing. Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, Nico. Appreciate all the support. That was crazy! That is what flying to minimums look like. And you know what? I know I called continue. We didn't actually see the runway. We saw the runway lights, which is like super borderline. Like in real world conditions, that was probably a go around without an auto land, but shit. That was awesome. We still can't see shit. I'm gonna have to let's pull up the taxi chart. I have no idea where I'm going. Okay, so the apron's at the very end to the left. So we got back taxi all the way. St. Paul traffic, Alaska 984 is back taxiing runway 36, Alaska traffic. Or St. Paul traffic. Oh, yeah, let's check the brake temps. That's a great call. Oh, they look fine. And they were set to medium, and I didn't actually need to hit them at all. I kept the reversers on longer than normal. You would normally just engage them at 70 knots, but I kept them on until about maybe like 55. That may have helped a little bit. I'm gonna have to watch that replay, man. I'm so curious. Short runway, visibility to minimums. That was fun. We'll definitely have to toga take off the departure from here. I could feel the wind even on the ground. I'm struggling to keep it on center line. Thanks, Ivan. It must have been epic for you as well in the 172. That thing definitely does not have an auto land. Yeah, look at the windsock. You can see it there, blowing to the right. So a slight crosswind element. That actually explains... Does that explain why we're a bit off center? I don't know. Oh, yeah, no worries, no worries. It would have been nice to have seen your little Cessna here, but I understand. Alright, yeah, there's a little taxiway to our left. We'll pull off the runway, and then we'll do our after landing checks. St. Paul traffic, Alaska 9084 is clear of runway 36, so St. Paul traffic. Alright, we'll come to a stop real quick. And first and foremost, let's get the APU on. 1, 2, 3. Get the landing lights off. I should never turn on these lights. That was a faux pas. Strobe to auto. And let us flaps up. Spoilers disarmed. Weather systems can come off. ATC to standby. TCAS can come off. Clean up. FMC there. And back to ARC. Alright, after lane checklist. Flaps are retracted. Spoilers disarmed. APU is on. Radar is off and on standby. Predictive wind shear system is on off. And we'll do 2 engine taxi, because it's a short taxi. And I think... Let's see where Flight Sim wants me to park. This is not custom scenery, of course. Oh, you had trouble with your localizer. Sorry to hear that. Alright, I guess we're just going to park over there. Yeah, let me just go to the end of this apron. Yeah, it's really helpful. I disengaged the autopilot like below 200 feet. Alright, this looks like a good place to park. Alright, come to a stop. APU is available, parking brakes engaged, engines are coming off. APU bleed activated. Beacons off. Strobes off. Seatbelt signs are off. Turn off those taxi lights. Ah, oh, I see. Probably. Yeah, that kind of tailwind on a Cessna, that is no joke. That is no joke. All right, parking checklist. Electric pump is off, don't need it. APU bleed is on, engines are off, seatbelts are off, exterior lights are as required, fuel pumps can come off. Parking brakes are on, parking checklist complete. Let's take a look at our surroundings here. There's our engine spooling down. You can hear the APU humming along. Yeah, this is insane. This is nuts. All right, let's continue to securing the aircraft here. Turn these off, and come up to the overhead here. Get the IRSs off as well. Crew supply off. We'll assume folks have deplanes, so bleed can come off, packs can come off. I actually hear the bleed turn off. You hear the air circulation stop. That's pretty cool. Get those lights off. Now my logos can come off. Yeah, you know, honestly, I didn't either. When I was doing the route planning for this round the world journey, I was just looking for airports within 2 hours of each other that had runways that were likely long enough. That's where this one showed up. All right, so set that to off. Okay, almost done here. So long to our radios. And if Anchorage Tower was online tonight, maybe we'll get tower coverage on our next flight. That'll be nice. Cool. So I think we're ready to shut the rest down. So let's shut down the APU. And we'll get those batteries off. And we'll just let the APU spool down. And we'll be done. Yeah, geography, man. It's cool stuff. Let's we'll wait for the APU to shut down. Let's do one last look at Volanta. Let's review the flights. So stats. Landing rate. Yes! Yes! Look at that. 25 feet per minute. That is just awesome. That has to be probably the best I've done so far. I'm very happy with that. But yeah, this is where we started. This is where we are. ATC is kind of scattershot across North America right now. Anchorage is still online, but a few centers, but mostly quiet. But yeah, so we'll be heading to Anchorage next, and then we'll start making our way down the west coast of Canada. Thanks, Ivan. Appreciate it. Go to Seattle, head to San Francisco, and then we'll start making our way east across the middle of America on our way to New York. And that is that. Let's see if our APU is shut down. It looks like it is. We're cold and dark once again. And that is it. Thank you, Pentagon. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys for staying the whole time. That was really a fun one. It's always interesting when you get to play with real world weather. But yeah, I really don't know how to sign off this one. That was just a lot of fun. And thank you guys for coming along for the ride. Hope to see you next time. We'll probably do the next stream in a couple of days. But I'll try to get better at keeping a consistent schedule because I know it's hard for those that want to fly the same routes. I need to figure out a way to give you guys more advance notice. I'm thinking about you, Ivan, because I know you want to fly. Yeah, I'll need to think of a good way to do it. You know what? I'll probably, maybe I'll post to my Instagram. So Mike_November_whiskey. I'll do a story the day I plan to do a stream that evening. So maybe we'll give you guys enough notice if you actually want to do the route with me. And we can hang out in Unicom. Sweet, that's the plan. So yeah, have a great night, everyone. Thanks again for joining, and we'll see you again soon. Oh, and actually, you know what? I'm still here. I'm going to raid a channel, because why not? Because there's a few good streamers on right now, and I've gotten a lot of love from folks raiding me. So let's head over to Mr. Q, see what he's up to. If you want to stick around, feel free. Otherwise, see you later.